what's up? Today we're gonna do a Q&A. I have a bunch of questions here on my laptop that I have saved, and I want to get to as many as I can. Since there's a lot of new people here, I want you to be able to get to know me a little bit better, understand my heart behind these videos and why I even decided to start a YouTube channel in the first place. I have something that I'm really excited to share with you at the end of this video, so be sure to stick around for that announcement. With that, let's just get into this. I want to make sure I get to as many questions as I can. So the first thing I want to talk about real quick is just, why am I on YouTube at all? Why did I start making these videos? When I was a new mom, I feel like I had this desire in my heart to get off the main rapid race river that the whole world was flying down in a frenzy, and find a splint in the river, if you will, where I could just go my own pace. There is another way. You can take a peek into my life and see that you're not crazy for wanting to slow down or wanting to just be content with less. The rest of the world's gonna tell you otherwise, but I wanna be salt and light here on this channel. I hope to bring God glory with these videos, that they do ministry to you in your life and start to bring rest in a world that's just, in my opinion, gone kind of crazy. Anyways, let's see how many of these questions I can get to. I have a lot of questions about how to get your spouse on board with minimalism and like decluttering other people's stuff. Questions about family and people gifting you things that you don't want. A lot of questions about Hawaii and what we miss about Maui. Are we still plant-based? And lots of questions too about homeschooling and child-led learning. And let's get into some of these. Where did you learn about gardening? I'd like to be better at it. Honestly, I should make a whole video about this. If you guys are interested in like an all about gardening video, I would love to make like a start to finish full year of our garden video, and also just talk more about gardening on this channel because I love gardening. Everything I've learned about gardening, I've pretty much learned from YouTube. I follow this one channel called Epic Gardening, and I have learned a ton from his channel. And then just, yeah, if ever I have like a random gardening question about compost or whatever, I will just type that into YouTube and then watch a video about it. I think you just have to not be afraid to kill things, not be afraid to try. Your soil health is really important, so start watching videos about that. Also look up what zone you live in, because that's really important too for timing things and how things are gonna grow in your area and your climate and your elevation, all of that stuff. So figure out what zone you live in and then just start planting stuff. Okay, Kuzo family asks, how long did it take you guys to start wanting less? Honestly, it took us quite a while. I think that decluttering is just like the physical way to clear your stuff, but underneath all of that, there's a void somewhere that you're trying to fill with stuff. And so in my case, decluttering was an opportunity for me to start processing that, to start getting in touch with that, figuring out that void that I, in my case, was filling with stuff instead of with getting my contentment and validation from God. Something I'm still working on. I have not arrived. I like to question, like start to get curious about what it is I'm feeling. Maybe things have been a little more chaotic and stressful. Sometimes that's just out of your control too. That's just life. And figuring out ways to support yourself in times that are stressful, that aren't shopping and buying that things to mitigate stress, was probably the biggest thing that helped me start to really desire less. When I started to see the fruit of having less, of feeling more regulated all the time, of feeling just this lightness from really only being surrounded by the things that are absolutely essential, and not feeling so pulled by the like mainstream culture of buying more to make myself happier, not worrying so much about what I look like to other people or fitting in, that was when I was like, okay, I really am enjoying this. I like having less. Don't be too hard on yourself if you're just starting decluttering. Know that it's a process and a journey. I don't like the word journey, but just know that it's a process. This is a lifestyle change. It's not something that you're just gonna box up your stuff and suddenly have no more desire for things. Love that question, so thank you. M. Marie asked, advice for getting started with minimalism. I have our why, but I'm struggling with finding the motivation to actually declutter. I often don't feel motivated to start decluttering, but I know how good it feels during. So maybe you will find that as you start decluttering, you will get motivated to declutter. Maybe set a timer and just say you're gonna do 5 minutes, you know, in the morning after breakfast or something, And I bet you will not want to stop after those 5 minutes. Start with something small, maybe your car. Maybe don't go overboard and like pull everything out of your closet. I would just start with one drawer, or you know, something simple like maybe your living room. Just do a visual scan, be like, is any of this stuff not serving us anymore? Maybe clear off one area that has like surface clutter all over it. Little baby steps. Don't try to declutter your whole house at one time if you feel like that's overwhelming to you. Tori Briggs asked a lot of great questions. Thank you for this nice comment. I'm gonna get right to your questions. She says she's been inspired to do a 10-item wardrobe. So cool. How to deal with family members gifting items to your kids that you don't like, want, or need. So a lot of people ask this. I don't really do anything. I have not found a way to politely and kindly say, don't get us stuff. And so when those people do get us toys that I definitely would not have bought for our kids and don't want in our home, or give me a gift, I try to just remind myself that the intentions are good. They're just trying to say we love you in whatever way they can. And I just don't feel bad about getting rid of that stuff. I can receive the intention behind the thing and not keep the thing in my home. It gets a little more tricky if it's a gift for your children. I'm not in the business of getting rid of other people's clutter. But what I find with the junk stuff that people give our kids occasionally is that it doesn't last. It breaks or gets worn out, or for whatever reason ends up leaving the house really quickly. And so it's just not a big issue to kind of like lose sleep and hair over. I think over time, people that really love you and like really know you, your people, are gonna figure this out. They're gonna figure out like, hey, what's different about you? And then you can talk about minimalism. If you're like me, I mean, like I made a whole YouTube channel about it. People that know us and are in our life a lot and are good friends or family with us, they either ask me like, hey, I wanna get the kids something for Christmas. Tell me what they're interested in. And to that, I am very specific. I have things either written on my phone or ideas saved to like Amazon lists that are specifically for the kids, for my husband, like even gifts for myself, things that like are practical and or just intentional gifts that I know that the kids or I or my husband are gonna like and get value from. I say very clearly what those are. And communication, when you're asked about it, goes a long way. And for those people that are not asking, I think just letting it go. Both on the front end of letting it go, letting just the like weight of like, good night, I have to have some type of confrontation with them, they're never gonna get it. Maybe have a really fun time with it all day, let the kids play super hard, and then turns out it breaks and you can let go of it anyways. How do I prepare for disasters in a minimalist way? I keep a fairly stocked pantry. I made a pantry tour food clutter video where I talk about my philosophy on food as a minimalist and keeping food. So if you haven't watched that, go check out that video. I also showed like a whole pantry tour. So I do keep some like bulk dry goods in my pantry that I know we could survive on for several days. But we also, maybe you get from my videos the impression that we live like out in some remote location. We don't. We live in the city. We even walk to the grocery store sometimes. We are right in the middle of a very urban area, surrounded very closely by a lot of neighbors. So I feel like if disaster did strike, we would just rely on our community, the family that lives around us. We would band together with those people. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong if you do want to make some type of stockpile at your house. I see value in that. That's just not our personalities. You have to just figure out what works for you, and that's kind of the hard part with everything with minimalism. It's just not a one size fits all thing. As far as my non-toxic life, that's a huge compliment. Thank you. I do try to live a non-toxic life. Brands for laundry, cleaning, hygiene, cosmetics. I just finished setting up in the Amazon storefront where I have tabs on pretty much all those subjects. So go check that out for some of my favorite brands. I'm trying to think if there's anything that wouldn't be. Yeah, my shampoo and conditioner. My friend Corey introduced me to this company called Under Luna. Mom from Portland, she makes all her own homemade shampoo and conditioner, and they're beautiful. They're all non-toxic. It's the only thing I wash my kids' hair with. Okay, cleaning's another thing I don't really buy products for. It is okay to just use warm soapy water. That's pretty much what I use, that and vinegar for cleaning. As I think of more things, I'm sure I'll share more on my channel. I think I'm gonna do a whole video about like my favorite skincare, hair care, self-care products and routines, practices video. So I will talk more specifically about that stuff there if you're more interested in that. By the way, I'm drinking a cold oat straw and nettle infusion because minerals, baby. Do you plan on using a set curriculum for your children at any point? What are my favorite homeschooling resources? Okay, let's talk about homeschooling for a minute. I don't plan on using any set curriculum. Now, hold on, just stay with me here. My favorite homeschooling resource is my own kids. I believe so deeply in letting my children be the guide of their own education. That doesn't mean that I'm not actively participating in it, putting all the resources behind whatever they're interested in. I am not following some type of checklist or doing school at home. I was homeschooled, so for me, homeschooling is just a very easy, natural, normal thing to do. I don't have any fears or concerns about it. And the fact that I know my kids better than anyone, my husband and I, that is. I know when and what to kind of like introduce to them that they may not even know exists yet, that they might find a lot of interest, value, excitement around. I am not opposed to buying curriculum when they have that interest and that desire to learn that thing. We've bought a few of the cumin resources. I have some of those. I have a whole homeschool tab on my Amazon storefront, and so I've linked a few of the workbooks that we've tried. Yeah, I'm not opposed to workbooks or curriculum, but I also, I think if you were to look in at our homeschool rhythm, a day in our life, we probably spend all of 10 minutes to half an hour doing what would be like traditional schooling, you know, sitting in front of a piece of paper, writing. My kids primarily at this age play outside for 6+ hours a day, and we just do a lot of time in nature at this age. We also do life skills around the house because they're really into it, things like doing laundry, learning how to cook. And then one other favorite homeschool resource is the Life Without School podcast. It is my all-time favorite homeschooling podcast. It's actually the only one that I am subscribed to right now. I don't know his real name, but the name of his blog and business is Stark Raving Dad. And it's really nice to hear Dad talk about homeschooling. I don't know why, but my husband and I both really like listening to him talk about homeschooling and like his philosophies on it. I would refer you to him. He has lots of other resources about homeschooling there that you can check out if you're interested in homeschooling. We love homeschooling, and I can't wait to talk more about homeschooling as our kids get older and as this channel grows. I think that'll be really fun, and it's a huge part of our slow living life. What are our favorite go-to kid-friendly meals? There's this cookbook called Wicked Healthy, and pretty much any recipe in that book my kids love. I think their all-time favorite is the butternut squash mac and cheese. We make that all the time, as well as the cauliflower mornay sauce. Anyway, they also have a Wicked Healthy YouTube channel, and I think all of their recipes in that book are available for free on their YouTube channel. So if you want to just go there, seriously, any recipe out of their YouTube channel and book is something my kids love. So those are our favorite kid-friendly meals. Josephina says, love your channel. Why'd you leave Hawaii? More kids, ? Taking minimalism further to a more extreme way, or are you maybe letting more stuff into your life again? Love from Sweden. Love to Sweden. Josephina, I hope we can visit Sweden sometime. Okay, why did we leave Hawaii? This is a question I got a whole bunch, and so I'm just gonna address it here. This is a really hard thing for me to talk about. Truthfully, I just don't have a good answer, and I know that that's weird, but I made a whole video about it. It's called Into the Unknown, and I'm still in it. We're still in it. I don't know if we made the right choice by leaving Hawaii. All I know is there's this cultural lie, and I'm saying this because I have struggled with this myself, that I think especially our generation, if you're a millennial like me, struggles with. Because I know a lot of my friends, we've talked about it, we all struggle with this thing that for some reason in the back of all of our minds if only we lived in a more perfect location. You know, like, oh, I'll be happier if I moved to the country or to a more remote location. Oh, I'd be happier if I moved to the city. You know, like, it goes both ways, and I think everyone just has their own thing that is pulling at them and leading them towards more discontentment. Now, I'm not saying moving's wrong. We've moved a lot, and I don't think it's all come from that same place. I am trying really hard to work through that because we're still renting. We hope to be homeowners someday soon, but that when we do buy that home, that we are not trying to fill some internal void by purchasing a home, by thinking that that's gonna make us happy, that that's gonna solve all of our problems. I know that doesn't answer your question, but maybe that speaks to someone out there. God wants to meet us where we are, and maybe there's something beautiful about being salt or light in I'm here in a very urban setting. There's noise and sirens, and it is not a dreamy, slow living lifestyle location. It's not even the beach, which you guys know is like where I'd ultimately love to be. And I am just trying to figure out what God has for me here. And I don't really know yet. I hope that the future holds us moving closer to the beach. Maybe someday we'll own a rental home in Hawaii. I'm trying not to live so future oriented. A little bit, like keeping goals, keeping things like moving in a direction, but I'm guilty of living way too often just completely in a future fantasy. And so I'm trying to be more intentional about that and figure out just why it is that I always get this urge to move. So that's what's up. And there is nothing wrong with Hawaii. The thing I miss the most is just seeing my kids in Hawaii. It's everything we love. You know that. But it's nice to be closer to our family here. That, I don't know what else to say about that. But if you haven't seen my video, I'm proud of that video, and go watch it if you haven't seen it. I hope that it serves you. It speaks to you if you're in that place. I kind of talked about this, but would love to know more about your homeschool rhythm, what that looks like with 2 children of different ages. I like that you use the word rhythm because we don't have a strict routine. I wake up at 5, and that's when I do my work and editing. And then by the time my kids get up at like 6:30 or 7, we all eat together outside and maybe read some books. And then we pretty much do gardening and outdoor activities, like or go to some nature location. We go to the library a lot. That's a favorite of ours. The kids love to go for walks around the neighborhood, so that's definitely a rhythm part of our day. Seeing our neighbors, greeting every dog and cat that we see. We don't have a TV. The kids don't have iPads. They do a lot of independent play. If that's a foreign term to you, look up Janet Lansbury. I have toddlers that are my same kind of age. I think these books, if you haven't read them, are so good and you're gonna really like them. So, Toddler Discipline Without Shame and Elevated Childcare. She talks a lot about independent play and just kind of nurturing a relationship with your kids that role models what healthy relationships should look like. Role modeling what we hope our kids grow up to be. We are trying to be those people. And so bringing our kids along with us for that, for entrepreneurship, for our work at home, for cooking healthy food, shopping for healthy food, all the stuff that adult life is, while also leaving lots of room for them to just be children. Childhood is so short. I'm just really passionate about preserving that in this crazy busy culture for my kids to just be kids. Okay, so last question. Jess Shipley says, were you and your husband both on board with minimalism from the beginning? Did one of you want to, but not the other at first? If so, have you worked through this lifestyle change together? Edited to add, I don't remember how I found you, but I love following in your lifestyle and mindset is an inspiration to me. So glad that we found each other. All of you guys, actually. I was planning to record this to say thank you for 8,000 subscribers, but as I just pulled up the questions, I saw that I'm about to cross 10,000. So thank you guys so much for joining me and following along. I love making these videos, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds with this YouTube channel. Okay, so How did I get Kyle on board with minimalism? How do you get your husband on board with minimalism? Let me just tell you what happened for us. There's usually a saver and there's usually a spender. So in my household, I am the spender. I didn't really talk about it at first, and I'm a big talker. Anything that's on my mind and everything that's on my mind, I share with my husband. I don't think at first he noticed that we had less stuff, but what he did start noticing was that I was spending a lot less money at Target. When he started to see like changes in my spending habits, he was interested in what was up. I think there's a lot of ways you can enter minimalism. For me, it was like, I want more freedom. Like, I don't want to feel tied down and heavy by all the stuff that I have to clean and organize and maintain. I just want to have more time to enjoy my kids' childhood, because childhood's so short. That hit me so hard when Mallory was a baby. And I knew that's how I wanted to raise her, was to be much more intentional about my time and stop wasting it away trying to keep up with other people that didn't even know me. So that was really important to me, and I wanted to do the work. Around the same time, my husband and I decided to go to marriage counseling. It was kind of more as like we want our marriage to be the best it can be, and we're going through this really hard transition of being parents. Let's just get some support to figure out how to do this. And I feel like it was lucky for us that like that kind of intersected at the same time, and we were able to like work out some other issues we had going on in the setting of like a well-trained counselor. It made us more open. But my husband has a whole story about minimalism all his own, which leads me to my announcement. And that is, he will be my first guest on my new podcast, which is coming in the next couple weeks, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm excited to just share more about our life, about slow living, about minimalism. I plan to talk about homeschooling and all the other topics that I didn't get to, and all the questions that I missed, I'm just gonna save in the notes of my phone and get to in that episode or future episodes. Thank you so much for subscribing and commenting and being part of this coolest community. I didn't know that this many people were out there that are so much like me, and that has been so fun and cool and maybe a little narcissistic, I don't know. Thank you for subscribing and following along. I will see you in my next video.